Exodus chapter 36. Verse 1. And Bezaleel made the ark of shittim wood, 32 cubits was his length, and 4 cubits was his breadth, and 3 cubits was his height. Verse 2. And he made the cherubims of olive tree, behind the covering that is before the oracle. Verse 3. And the wings of the cherubims were extended upward, one wing of the cherubim was fastened to the wall, and the other wing was joined unto the other cherubim. Verse 4. And the cherubim spread out their wings on high, and covered with their wings over the ark, and the poles. Verse 5. And when they went in, the very cherubim spread out their wings, and covered it with their wings, and there was a covering of the cherubims above upon it even unto the mercy seat. Verse 6. And the poles for carrying it were so long that they might be seen from the holy place before the oracle went into the first chamber, i.e. the holy chamber, and out beyond the new entrance was 20 cubits. Verse 7. He made also 2 rings of gold, which he put upon the sides of the covering for a coupling, and 2 golden spindles for the poles, to bear the ark. Verse 8. And 4 rings of gold, being on the 4 corners of the netting that was on the frame of the covering. Verse 9. Over against the length of it, over against the breadth of it even he made the hanging of 5 cubits from the side, the fringe of the hanging being a cubit. Verse 10. And 30 cubits was the length of them, and 4 cubits the breadth of them, fashioned by the same measure. Verse 11. And he made 40 rings of gold for to be set in the 40 sockets, 2 rings upon the one side, and 2 rings upon the other side. Verse 12. And the 2 rings were placed on both ends of the 2 sides of the netting. Verse 13. And there were 50 loops of purple, and 100 threads of blue, and 100 threads of crimson, and 25 threads for the fringe, so that the hooks of the netting did not look thin. Verse 14. And he made in the borders of it a cord with wreaths of pomegranate trees to make them like golden chains. Verse 15. And a cubit on the one side, and a cubit on the other side of that which was in the border of king's crown. Verse 16. And they made on either side posts, 5 cubits long, with their rings, upon the heads of the pillars. Verse 17. And 20 boards shalt thou make, and as many sockets to put them in the sides of the tabernacle with 2 hooks of each board. Verse 18. The length of a board was 10 cubits, the breadth 1 cubit, 1 board. Verse 19. And he made 40 sockets of silver under the 20 boards, 2 hooks upon the sides of the frames for their planks. Exodus chapter 37. Verse 1. And Bezaleel made the ark of shittim wood, 2½ cubits was the length thereof, and 1½ cubits the breadth thereof. Verse 2. And he made a crown of gold to set it upon, and he made a border of gold round about. Verse 3. And he cast 4 rings of gold for the corners of it, to be places for the staves to bear the ark. Verse 4. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. Verse 5. And he put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark, that they may be borne before the ark. Historical context. The tabernacle was a portable place of worship for the Israelites during their wilderness journey. Verse 6. And he made the mercy seat of pure gold, 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. Verse 7. And he made 2 cherubims of gold, beaten out of 1 piece to set upon the mercy seat. Verse 8. 1 cherub on the end on this side, and another cherub on the other end on that side, out of the mercy seat made he the cherubims on the two ends thereof. Verse 9. And the cherubim spread out their wings on high, and covered with their wings over the ark, and the staves. Verse 10. And the staves thereof were put before in the rings, but the rings were close to the frames of the ark, and they covered it with gold. Historical context. The cherubim symbolized God's presence and protection around the Ark of the Covenant, which contained the 10 Commandments. Exodus. Chapter 38. Verse 1. Bezaleel made all that the Lord had commanded him. Verse 2. For he had to wit, and wisdom, and cunning to do all manner of work of the engraver, and the designer, and the grave cutter in stone, and in wood, and in brass. Verse 3. And in cutting of stones, to set them, and in carving of timber, to make any fashion. Verse 4. And he made 2 cherubims of gold, beaten out of this gold, and they were set between the wings of the mercy seat. Verse 5. And it came to pass on the day that Moses filled the tabernacle with the sanctified things, that the cloud covered the tabernacle of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto all the people assembling there. Historical context. The tabernacle was a portable place of worship built according to God's instructions by Bezaleel, using materials contributed by the Israelites. Exodus. Chapter 39. Verse 1. And of the blue, and purple, and scarlet, they made cloths of fine twined linen, for work. Verse 2. The work of the ephod upon the gold, even of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, and of fine twined linen, as the Lord commanded Moses. Verse 3. And they did beat the gold into thin plates, and cut it into threads, to work it in the blue, and in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine twined linen, with skilled hands. Verse 4. And they made on the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and put the 2 rings in the edges thereof. Verse 5. And they did bind the breastplate by the rings thereto unto the ephod with a lace of blue, that it might be. Historical context. The priest's attire, including the ephod and breastplate, symbolized their connection to God and their role as intermediaries between God and the people. Verse 6. And it was made with setting of stones, for the sons of Aaron, according to their names, even as the Lord commanded Moses. Verse 7. And they put in the setting 3 rows of stones on the ephod, upon the first row were set a sardius, a topaz, and a carbuncle, and upon the second row an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. Verse 8. And the third row a ligure, an agate, and an amethyst. Verse 9. And the stones according to the names of the children of Israel, did they set in the ephod, as the Lord commanded Moses. Historical context. The use of precious stones on the ephod and breastplate served both decorative and symbolic purposes, emphasizing the priest's connection to God's people. Verse 10. And he made the chest of shittim wood, 2 cubits was the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and half the height thereof. Verse 11. And he made thereunto 4 rings of gold, and put the rings in the 4 corners that were in the 4 feet thereof. Verse 12. Over against the border were the places for the rings, and he put staves into the rings on either side of the chest to bear it upon the shoulders. Verse 13. And he made the breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. Historical context. The priest's robes were intricately designed to convey their sacred role, with each garment reflecting its purpose in relation to worship and ritual. Verse 14.